I have a client that they just moved out here from Portland. Mm-hmm. So I spent some time with them on Sunday afternoon, and they gave me all kinds of good
cool
stuff.
It's a cool town.
Huh?
It's a cool town.
I know. I can't wait. I've never been there. So it should be good. And then I think on Monday, because my flight leaves Monday night, mm-hmm. I'm going to head out and go to the coastline. And Cannon Beach is one place that they kind of said to go, and gave me some, restaurants, coffee houses, whatnot.
Woohoo! Coffee houses.
So I'm looking forward to just
nice
adventuring around.
Well, Chris, this is the part of the Coach's Corner where we just kind of gamble and banter, but it is see Aaron does his look. So anyway, we are live streaming now. So it is 6:00, and wow, July 19th. Coach's Corner. Welcome everybody to Coach's Corner. I am Mitch Baker. I am your host, live from downtown Blue Ash. And here we have our official CTC coach, Mr. Aaron Geiser of Independence, Kentucky. And we have a special guest today, Miss Chris Owens. Chris, what part of town are you from?
I'm in Loveland.
Woo. The land of Bruce and Robin. Well, yeah. I don't want to, people are probably wondering, why is Chris on? What's going on here? Well, I got some bad news here, folks. The studio executives of Coach's Corner have decided that our ratings are just tanking. And they did their focus groups, and they deemed me as the cause of the tanking ratings. Therefore, they said, Baker, something about demographics, Pop-Tarts, Old Samurai, what have you. Anyway, they said it's time to breathe some fresh air into Coach's Corner. So my demise is your benefit, because Chris Owens has agreed to step in and take over as host of Coach's Corner starting in August. Is that correct, Chris?
That's it.
Right. Well, and I will be stepping away. So this will be my last show with Mr. Geiser. I already gotten my pension lined up, all 2 cents of it. But anyway, Aaron wanted me to ask you, Chris, this is very important. I know we advanced you a paycheck, but if you don't mind, kind of hold off cashing that until maybe August, because our bank is a little short right now. And I don't think we can cover that. But anyway, but folks, seriously, Chris, I'd like you to take a minute, if you don't mind, before we launch it.
Right.
I think he froze up, but I think where he was going with that, Chris, was give a little bit of intro to yourself.
Oh my gosh. Is he's still frozen in time? Oh, there you are.
Hey,
You're frozen.
Well, anyway, I'm going to ask Chris, if she can, just kind of go over your background a little bit there, Chris. And like I said, when I was frozen, you're very popular within the club, I'm sure, but a lot of our newer members may not have met you yet. So tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just real brief.
Yeah, no, for sure. I moved to Cincinnati 25 years ago. So I am not a local, whatever you want to call. I did not go to one of the high schools that all y'all know to.
Wait a minute. Skyline or Gold Star, Chris?
Neither.
Yes, this lady is she's on point.
Keep going, Chris.
Aaron and I are gonna get along just
fine. Absolutely. There it is, man. That's it right there. All right.
And,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not even a Pop-Tart fan, so I don't know.
Oh man,
Mitch chose me. That's all I gotta say. But I don't know. I got into triathlon about 7 years ago.
Really?
Did my very first triathlon, which was a 70.3. So go big or go home. And I sat at the start line just super uber nervous because I had just learned how to swim, and I thought, what did I get myself into? And I chose Steelhead.
Oh
up
my
in St. Joe,
gosh.
Michigan. So, not knowing anything,
Yeah.
Lake Michigan's like the ocean. So thank God the water gods were on my side that day and the water was like glass.
Oh,
But
man.
anyway, so been in around CTC for about 7 years.
Excellent. Now, I met you, I believe, for the first time. I met you on a Indian Hill Drills ride on a Saturday. I'll never forget that ride. You climbed those hills and you said, I'm not giving up on this thing. And you climbed every single hill on that day. And subsequently, you and I've ridden on some hill rides, and you're just, let me tell you, folks, this is a gritty rider. She rides with grit, and it's great to have you. And I don't know what else to say, but I wish you well with Aaron, and just call me if there's any time you need to talk.
No. You're gonna have people out there thinking that I chased you away.
Absolutely not. Let me put that to rest. No way. Aaron did not chase me away. The executives, the suits, the guys on the upper floor, Anyway, the ratings drove me away. All right. Well, just some quick news, and then we got some really great questions. And Chris, I want you to feel free to jump in on anything. You're co-host, okay? You're co-hosting with Coach's Corner. I had some questions that were posted earlier that I had forwarded to Aaron and you to look over. But if Aaron does a great job, he always checks the Facebook feed because a lot of people come up with questions. Thank you, Aaron. You're right. You're no longer there. I gotcha. All right. Aaron's no longer, he can't do the Facebook feed. I'll have to check it. All right. Well,
he's got a multitask. That's really why he's right. He had the dual, like he had to co-host and look at Facebook.
My God.
He at that point tapped out. Like he didn't want to more.
Boom.
Like I gotta go.
See that beach in the background? I need to be on that beach right now surfing instead of doing this, but no.
Surfing. I can see him back there surfing in the background. That's the funniest thing you've said all day.
Hey, listen, you know what? Just give me one of these. There, here. Can you see my duck? There's my duck. Yeah, gosh. All right. Oh, we're crazy. Well, all right. Quick news for CTC. Just a real quick thing here. Sad news. I'm sure all of you have seen, Mr. El Presidente, Sean Walsh, has tendered his resignation. He's stepping down. He's got family and other things he would like to focus on, still remaining a member of the club, mind you. And, as of this Friday, I'm sure you've all saw his post and so forth. I just want to say on behalf of Coach's Corner, Sean, hats off to you, buddy. A lot of things were accomplished under your tutelage and leadership, and this show being one of them. And I can't thank you enough for all that you've done for CTC. And we wish you and Cam well. And I know we'll see you out there on the training rides, runs, and swims and so forth. But we do appreciate your leadership. So thank you very much for that. Because of people like Sean in the leadership and so forth, great news. Aaron, I'm sure you saw this, and Chris, you did too. This past weekend, CTC, wow, man, we dominated the Queen City Triathlon up at Caesars Creek. I don't know what else to say. Congratulations. The club received the USAT, let me make sure I get this correct, the USAT 2023 Ohio Overall Club State Champion banner. And also we had a banner touting our largest number of participants this past weekend at the Queen City Tri. That is fantastic. Just a couple of shout outs. I mean, we had people, Maria Krechek got first overall female in the sprint triathlon, a great accomplishment. I mean, there were just, there's just so many people who did so well in that event. Aaron, you would be proud as CTC's coach of all the things that were accomplished. But I also want to give a shout out to the volunteers. I mean, Justin Roush, Matt Philly, let's see, Cindy Register, Phil Bangle. I mean, there were Erica Wetzel are the ones that come to my mind as volunteering at that event. And, you know, without the volunteers, a lot of that stuff wouldn't happen. So thank you to everybody who participated and or volunteered at that event. So, all right, that's all I got for CTC news. I don't know, Chris, you got anything you'd like to share from a news perspective? Oh, wait.
Well,
what are you doing? What race are you got coming up, Chris?
So I'm doing Oregon 70.3 on Sunday. Wow. Tabitha Adams is a new member of CTC. She's also doing 70.3 in Oregon.
Excellent.
And then we've got a handful of people doing Ohio on Sunday.
Yeah.
Up in Sandusky, 70.3. Yep. I know Matt Philly and Bob Wassel and I don't know who else, but I'm sure there's a few more.
Well, now you mentioned Tri Louisville is this weekend. Am I correct? I think as well.
And also Lake Placid is this weekend.
My gosh, it's a racing. Yeah. It's a racing weekend.
It is.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Chris, good luck to you out there in Oregon. That's going to be. You're going to have to give us a full report when you come back on the corner. Okay. And then have Aaron provide a blow-by-blow analysis of how your race went. See that scowl? That scowl. You got to be prepared for that.
Nobody wants to look at my data.
No. All right. Let's launch into some great
When Mitch finally races again, what we're going to do is pull him back on here and go from top to bottom. His power to his really, we're going to go over his watts to kilogram profile for the entire race. And then we're going to talk about your heart rates. Okay. If you're going to do that to her, we're bringing you back. And
don't listen. Don't waste your time doing that.
We're going to break it down like Jonas Vingegaard's.
Well, here's the breakdown
on the Tour de France yesterday. We're going to go point to point, exactly detailed on yours.
Well, let me explain to you. This is the very. He swam. He got out. He walked to the transition, got on his bike, rode his bike, and then complained about the people running. That's the race overview that you need to share. That's all.
No. That's almost like waking up in the morning. We recognize and understand that that's what you're going to complain about. There was these people that were running 6-minute miles past me. What was going on with that?
Well, I'm just sitting there as the aqua biker, you know, I just sit there and watch and marvel at all that. But anyway, all right, let's launch into some critical questions here. We had some really good stuff posted here, folks. Bear with us. All right. First question, Coach and Chris. David Whelan, by the way, if you haven't met him, he's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal human being. Okay. Guy works and trains extremely hard. Dave asked a good question. In light of all this heat going on, does anyone have any good recommendations on cooling vests for hot days? Some of my next few races are in the latter part of the afternoon, and I'm definitely overheating trying to warm up. Any suggestions are greatly appreciated. What do you think there, Coach?
All right, I wrote down this particular model, but I left it in the other room. So it's called, hang on. I need to find it on this particular computer because I had it written down and completely forgot to bring it in. So I can find it in seconds. Give me.
Okay. Now, I guess, Michael, is this a vest something you wear while training?
No, racing? You can do it in the warm up. And what it's going to do is just kind of keep your core body temperature at a little bit of a colder, because really what it is almost like a cycling vest that has spots that you put in, like those cold packs that are going to sit on your body. So when you're circulating blood, it's going to really start to circulate cooler blood, which it's going to regulate your body temperature. So when you get started into that particular event, it's already going to have your body temperature working at a little bit of a lower degree. So therefore, you're going to be able to go into the event a little bit longer with more manageable body temperature. that is just going to allow you to be a little bit more comfortable. And David races a lot of sprint distance races on the USA Tri circuit. So this is going to be a really, really good piece of, like, it's going to be a good piece of tech that he can add before he races to really manage his body temperature. So the one that Technique, it's spelled TECHNICHE, Elite Hybrid Cooling Vest. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but it's worth the cost because, one, it's 100% reusable, but it zips up, stays really, really taut on the body, and it has a lot of cooling gel packs on it. So what this is going to do is really manage your body temperature and get you kind of wearing it leading up to the event. It's just going to allow your body temperature to be at a much more regulated temperature. So therefore, you're just going to get into the event and have a little bit lower body temperature, rather than a lot of the, like, I want to say the first year I raced Blue Ridge Mountains, it was one of the first races back from COVID, and we ended up sitting out like at the T1 before we got into the water for like 3.5, 4 hours. It was 92% humidity, and it was already like 83 degrees in the morning.
Wow.
That would have been a perfect time to have something like this, because while I was sitting there cooking, this would have kept the body temperature at a nice, reasonable temperature, allowing, you know, a little bit more comfort before the race, but that actually will end up translating a little bit later into the event, because your body temperature is already not starting to kind of hit that point where heart rate starts to increase, you start to burn calories a little bit more. There's just a lot of things that kind of happen in the body when the body temperature starts to creep up. So Technique Elite Hybrid Cooling Vest would be the one that I would make recommendation and put my name behind.
Okay, great. And again, this is strictly something you wear.
You would not race on this. No.
Okay. Would you train with this? Is like
you could, but the point of training is trying to get a little bit more heat acclimated. So I would not necessarily recommend it for that. You will see a lot of, especially since we're in the middle of the tour, with the Tour de France, you are going to see a lot of individuals do their pre-warm-up in these particular vests. And what they're doing is they're able to get their blood flowing, start to operate, and get the muscles of the legs really started to warm up while they're keeping their core body temperature nice and cold. Because what this is going to do is a lot of those cooling packs are right next to that heart. So every pump, you're really getting a great deal of chilled blood pumping through the body. So it's going to end up kind of the venous return and everything else. It's just going to allow for colder blood to be circulated through the body. So it would be something that would be more utilized, or I would say better to utilize on like pre-race rather than trying to train or anything else. It's just because again, when you're in a training format, you want to try to get as much heat acclimation as you possibly can.
Okay. All right.
Now, for somebody that might be...
Go ahead.
Somebody that might go out on a run and really has their heart rate go out, one thing that could be utilized is utilizing the cold vest before you go out on like a long endurance run. This is something that could also be utilized in a training scenario, but I would not technically train in it.
A bit of a freeze here, but that's okay.
I think we at least got, Chris and I were still moving around, so I think it's still got captured.
No, you got it. You did. All right. I appreciate it. All right. That's a good one there, David. Thank you very much for that question. We got a new member here, Aaron, Mr. Rob Smith.
Welcome, Rob.
Welcome. Okay. Can I get some feedback about people's favorite workout watch? Looking for a heart rate monitor and something to track my training. He's got a price, it looks like under $250. Any thoughts on that, Coach? And
Buy
Chris?
used. No, I mean,
what?
Buy used.
Oh, really?
What I would probably do is, I got a couple of watches sitting right around me that I would be more than happy to sell for a little bit under that were well more than that when you bought them. But the problem with that request is you're not going to find, if you're looking for heart rate data in the watch at a $250 watch, you are going to get some of the worst accurate heart rate data that you could possibly imagine. So I would still recommend looking at adding one that has Bluetooth or amp capabilities so you could get a heart rate strap. But in all honesty, I could not say this with more certainty. If you're looking at that as your budget, buy one that's used, because the sad thing about it is us triathletes spend money like it is on fire. We buy watches like they are going out of style and they're only like a year and a half old. So there are probably half the people that are watching this today, I would say even more than half the club has probably a watch sitting somewhere in their house that is going to be a $500 or $600 watch at the time that they bought it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be more than, they'll probably sell it to you for less than $250 and you're getting away for a bargain. So I could not be more serious when I say with that particular budget, reach out to the club. You can reach out to me. I have a Phoenix 6. I would be more than happy to unload. Just buy the used market, because you're going to get a good value. You're also going to get probably a heck of a lot more of the bells and whistles. But in that case, these heart rate monitors on these watches have started to improve in the last really about 8 to 10 months. They are a little bit more accurate, but they're still not falling within the gold standard theme. But still, with those particular watches, you're still talking about a $550 to $650 watch. Wow. Is what it's going to take to get you an accurate heart rate monitor that is dialed into the to the watch itself. And again, it is still off about 3 to 5%, depending on what brand you go with. So in that case, I would tell you to buy the watch used, buy yourself a new heart rate monitor for $50, and boom, you got a whole setup that you need, getting accurate data, and also under the, or I'll say either under or at the budget that you set of $250.
Well, that's apt, because I did buy used, okay, and it works great. Unfortunately, I can't get the run deleted off of there, but that's beside the point. It keeps telling me
you can do that from your phone, right? You can grab the phone and just delete it off.
I got to, Coach. I know, but you're talking to a guy who's still trying to figure out email. But I mean, any brands, or do you say, I didn't know if you want to go there? Any brands that you've had good fortune with that would help? Is Garmin?
So Garmin has the worst heart rate technology, but they have the best features in a watch. So they all, typically how I have my athletes go is a Garmin watch, a Polar heart rate strap. These two do connect positively with each other. The Polar heart rate strap is considered a gold standard. The only thing that it falls to is an actual EKG. So it is a very, very highly accurate heart rate monitor. Garmin has great watches. They have great features with their watches. I recommend them almost exclusively from a watch aspect, but I do not recommend their heart rate. They have improved, but it's still not up to the level of Polar, which that's kind of, Polar does not have as great of a watch, but their heart rate technology is far, far extensive.
Great. Super. What do you got, Chris? What do you have? What kind of watch?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say too, to that point, is watch Garmin's sales, because I bought a Phoenix 6 Solar Pro for half. It's brand new, and I got it in February on their Valentine's sale for half off, half the price.
Dang, good for you.
Which is good, but I was going to say, everything that Aaron obviously said, and I'm sure a ton of us. I mean, I know I've got a Garmin 920 sitting.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bought a new one was because, I'm kind of that back of the packer, and the battery wore out before I was done.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you. That battery running out. I tell you. Oh,
I've got a
no, but that's good to know. I mean, I mean, you hear about Garmin, but it's interesting. It's good to know, Coach, that you can take a polar heart rate strap and it'll still sync up with a Garmin watch and so forth. That's good to know.
Because I know, like, they do sell their bundles. I would not waste my time with buying a bundle from Garmin. I would get the Garmin watch, polar heart rate strap. And the other thing I do want to say, our good friends over there at Fleet Feet, you can take advantage of getting Garmin watches at Fleet Feet as well.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, thank you.
But
all right, one.
That's the answer.
Oh man, let's see. Oh well, we got a question for you, Chris, from Mr. Walsh here. He says, has Coach's Corner helped you with both training and racing? That's a good question. What do you think, Chris? Yes, he is.
I love it. I've learned a lot just by sitting back and listening, and I think it's a valuable tool.
Great.
Well, whether you engage with it or not, just listening. I mean, we've got Aaron, who's got a huge amount of information. I mean, he's awesome.
He is.
Why not take advantage of the free opportunity to learn? Because triathlon's pretty simple, but we just make it complicated.
I love it. Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Swim, bike, and run.
In our heads just make it so complicated. I'm like, wait a minute. Keep it simple, man. Listen, learn. Yep.
I like that. A bunch of type A's get together. Yeah. What do you think's good? Exactly. I do think that's a great question from Sean. And I think of many things that he's accomplished and done for the club. I think it was a stroke of genius when he collaborated with Aaron and said, hey, would you be willing to become our official CTC coach? And that was a great move. And I think it's done I mean, when I talk to people about this club, one thing that I point out is how many clubs do you know have a professional coach on staff, quote unquote, and I think these corners help. And the fact that I know Aaron well enough, and I've had people tell me they've reached out to Aaron outside of this venue and get answers and get questions and stuff. And on top of that, we can also talk about the 12-week training program that Aaron does. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that for new members, check that out because Aaron does a great job with that. And I tell you, it helps a lot of people relatively well. I've seen both new people to triathlon as well as experienced people take advantage of your 12-week plan. Yeah. So that's great.
And it's free.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Free.
Free. All right. What Ellis Lopez? He's throwing me under the bus. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Ellis wanted to put out a reminder. If there are any veterans out there, and again, forgive me. I think he's saying ID me or get with him. ID me has a good discount for veterans, also GovX. So if you're a veteran, take advantage of those things in order to get maybe some items at a discount. So thank you for sharing that, Ellis. We appreciate that very much. Thank you. And then, yeah, I know, Mitch only bikes. All right, next question, Coach. These are great. I love this. All right. Oh, Sarah Sheets. All right, new member. All right, Sarah, welcome.
Sarah.
Yeah. I've only done one triathlon so far and don't remember the transition area closing. What does that mean? Does it actually close and you can't be near your stuff? That's a fair question. I can imagine, like, what do you mean it's closing? What does that mean, Coach?
And it is traditional that, yes, transitions close. What they mean by that terminology is that you have to have everything that you want set up at transition, set up and out of transition by that allotted time. So I think, I want to say, let's say Louisville this weekend has the race starts, depending on what distance, 7:15, 7:45. Transition closes at 6:45. So what that means is that you have up until that time to get your situation set up around your bike at T1 at your number. And then by 6:45, you got to get out of there. And then, yes, you cannot get back into transition until you have either gotten out of the water. If you're doing a duathlon, you got to do the first option of the run. You will not have access back in transition until the race is kind of one leg down at that point.
Interesting. Okay, so make sure you got your cap and goggles when they go to transit. That's happened.
If you're taking in any type of like nutrition before the race starts, of course you want your bike nutrition and your run nutrition in there, but let's say that you were going to take something like a sandwich or anything else before the race and you left it in transition and transition closes, you can't go in and get your sandwich. So get your stuff that you plan to be at the waterfront or at the first leg of duathlon. You have to have that stuff in hand, not in transition, or you will not get back to it. So to be completely straightforward, you will run into this in pretty much every single race from a triathlon, duathlon, aqua bike. You will run into this from Ironman distance down to super sprint distance. So be aware of that piece of information, because once that number hits, whether it's 6:45, 7 o'clock, 7:15, when that time hits at that particular location, they have people at the entrance of those saying, "Whoa, you can't get in here." So recognize when it says transition is closed. It's like the doors closed on your super sale. You can't get in the door anymore. You're shut out.
You're on the jet, baby. They close the door. You ain't getting off.
Exactly.
Now, when you're in actually like T1 or T2, to my knowledge, there's no actual cutoff time. Is there? Is there like a...
So when you're actually in the event?
Yeah, like you're in
T1. You could honestly look at some of our members of how long they take in T1 and T2.
Right.
Somebody probably knows who I'm talking about. But
well, come on, Coach. I had to find my shoes. I lost my jersey. Whatever.
at Kona, like World Championships, they actually have a dedication. Like they make a point of saying who is in transition the longest.
Oh no.
So, people sometimes get in there. They're in there for 58 minutes. There typically is not a time limit, Chris, to answer your question.
I think so.
Being in it, but that's the race has started, so your clock is still ticking. You just, of course, if you, let's say that you get out of the water before the cutoff, you are in transition for 3 hours, let's just say, and the bike cutoff is, we'll say 4. You only got an hour to race the bike, whatever it might be. So that's just what you would have to be somewhat concerned about, is what the cutoff time is.
So the only real cutoff time is prior to the swim to the start of the race.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so is this Sarah that asked this?
Yeah, Sarah Sheets.
Yeah. Yep. Now, Sarah, I will tell you, I heard a story, and this is no joke, and I don't know who told it to me, but I heard a story where there was some female touching up makeup in transition.
Hey,
And then, but the result was she didn't finish the race in a qualifying time because she took too long, to Aaron's point, in transition.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I got a good one for you too, Chris. And Cindy Register, I don't know if Cindy's on, but she told me this story. Racer finished the swim, goes into transition, sits down, and eats a Subway sandwich.
Oh.
Before the bike. And I'm like, well, that's one way to get your nutrition. Anyway.
I'm sure we've heard them all. So the bottom line is there's a cutoff to transition prior to the start of the race. But once you're in there, do what you need to do and just get out, because the clock's a ticking.
The clock's a ticking. Right on.
Free time is what I try to explain, is that when people often say, well, where am I going to cut off 15, 20 minutes? Sometimes you look at their transition time and boom, hey, I got you 10 right there. So let's do a little bit more biking and running and we're good.
Right.
Well, I'll share this with you, Coach and Chris. Chuck Gurley, top-notch guy. Oh, by the way, Chuck did a great job in his race. He won his division. Congratulations, Chuck. Great job. He goes, I heard Coach Aaron in my head when I sat down to get my socks on last weekend. Hey, guilty as charged. I have done that too. Robin Williams still has a picture of me sitting down, putting on my bike shoes and everything else. And I know, Aaron, you brought that up at the last Coach's Corner, that is the one thing you see in transition that kills time, people sitting down. So I thought that was a good piece of advice. The only time that you should
sit down is if you need a portalet. That's it.
That's it. Oh, I tell you. Well, there were some great stories out there. All right. Erica Wetzel here, a great volunteer and a great biker, by the way. Very good. Hi, team. I'm looking into some kind of pool bungee to allow me to swim in place at my home pool. Anybody have experience with these or other devices for small pool workouts? Good question.
So there's going to be a lot of options out there. I'm going to refer to Amazon. There's going to be pool bungees out there. There's not going to be one that's better than another from the bungee piece of it. The thing that I am going to draw attention to is where the anchor point of the bungee cord comes from. So if you're tying it, let's say to let's say you have a 4.5 foot pool and you have a ladder at that 4.5 point. If you tie it to that ladder at right above the water edge and you wrap this around your waist, because most of them do come with like a waist belt and they attach that way. The lower your anchor point, the more your hips are going to sag. So I want to draw attention to that, because this is going to end up causing some really, really negative technical pieces when you actually get back into normal swimming, because you are going to have heavy feet and hips in that case, which is going to cause a great deal of drag, which is going to make you a hell of a lot slower, and you'd be better off not swimming in that case than swimming with too low of an anchor point. And what I mean by an anchor point is, one, you have that belt around your waist, but the anchor point is where that bungee cord is attaching. So the key in this aspect is to have the bungee cord have pretty high. So they actually make this like pole that will go up on, it attaches to that step out or stair, and it will guide up about 1 foot, maybe even 2. And the anchor point is at the top of that pole. that's then running a line down towards you. Your hips are actually going to be in a lot higher position there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to create as much negative body position in that particular scenario. The other thing that I often recommend with individuals that do swim with a like bungee cord is also utilizing more of a pull buoy to get their hips up to the level of the water. It's not for the pulling aspect in this case. It is more from a buoyancy standpoint, because when you are not moving in the water, you are more likely to sink. So the pull buoy is just going to elevate the hip level, especially if you do not get a bungee cord that has a fairly high anchor point, as I just explained.
Okay, great, super. I can't say I've done that. Chris or Aaron, have you ever done endless pool? I can't say I've never done one. You have not?
I've tried the boot, what you just described, you know, where you're swimming
the bungee.
in place.
Yeah.
The bungee cord, but I've not done the endless pool.
Okay. Have you? Okay. Because I know, Aaron, you send me videos of the guy in Australia. He has endless pool, and you the various drills and so forth. I was just curious. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And they make a couple of different versions of these. Mm-hmm. They actually have them aftermarket.
Oh,
but if you got a little bit of money to burn, maybe look at that option. Because it really is, what it is just a water jet, and it's just sending water through, and you are just paddling through the water at that point. So you're just kind of, it's almost like you're swimming through resistance or a current in that case. So the current is just strong enough that you're not going to move forward. So you're staying very, very stationary. I have long wanted one in my compound, so hopefully when I do move out, this will.
There it is, Chris.
This I think will he just be part of my compound.
He just dropped his Christmas wish list right there on our lap. Okay, I love it. All right. Oh, look at Chuck. Chuck Gurley. Yeah, he said he won the fat old guy division. Get out of here. Come on. You did great. I'll tell you. And I don't know what Hoblet is complaining about blowing his mind. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. I can't get the rest of the comments to pull up.
I think there was another comment that we missed, though, Mitch.
Go ahead, Chris, please, while you're checking. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. I forgot about that. Well, no. You know, very. Oh, yeah. Never hurts to review this, especially this time of year. What are the tips? And I know we've asked this before, Coach, but to share with you, I had a real struggle last Thursday on the ride in Indian Hill because I am not weather acclimated like I thought I was. So help me understand what are some things we need to do to get acclimated to the heat, because it's going to be here for a while.
First, recognizing there is a difference between male and female and the timeline it takes to get heat acclimated. For males, the first stage of heat acclimation can take anywhere from 7 to 10 days, where for females, it is 14 to 17 days. The second piece of this, so in that first, you start to increase your sweat rate, you start to lower your core body temperature, and you start to create a higher blood plasma level. When for males to get fully heat acclimated, it roughly takes 14 to 21 days. For females, it's 21 to 28 days. In this, you get further blood plasma benefits, your further core resting temperature, your sweat rate improves. You also become more comfortable within hot climates and hot temperatures. You also burn calories a little bit more normal in your sense. So your body is able to regulate its core body temperature So therefore, it's not elevating and burning calories at a higher level to try to continue to keep your body at a more comfortable temperature. You will also see heart rate benefits in that 21 to 28 or 14 to 21 day for males. Again, the 21 to 28 was for females. In that time frame, you're going to see some heart rate benefits as well. But the key is all of those physiological adaptations are going to take place and make you more efficient in the heat. So the way that we get to that point is we want to, when we're going through the heat acclimation stage, we want to expose ourselves to 4 days a week at least of warm temperatures. Now, that can be passive, that can be active. What I mean by passive can be a sauna, or it can be hot baths. I do not often recommend steam rooms. People love steam rooms, but the problem is steam rooms are a lot lower temperature than warm baths or jacuzzis and saunas. Saunas, you're looking at about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly in the 90 or 85 to 90 degrees Celsius range. In a hot tub or hot bath, you want the water to be kind of at about 102, 103 degrees. You can go up to 104, but I don't push that unless you are well versed in how you react in hot temperatures. The problem with the steam room is it's only about 101 degrees. So you will get effects, but you have to be in there a heck of a lot longer.
Okay.
Where you start to get benefits in the passive exposure range, we want to shoot for 100.4. That is 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. Core body temperature exposure to 20 plus minutes. So that once you get over 20 minutes, you start to get like physiological benefits. Up to 20 minutes, you do not get them. What you might be doing, though, is, let's say, Mitch, the first time you go into a sauna, it's too hot for you to stay in there past 7 minutes. Okay, well, we have to acclimate you to be able to get to plus 20. So that first couple of times we might have you in there might just be to build you up past that 5 or 7 minute time frame to get you into the 20-minute time frame. After that, once we start exposing ourselves to 20 plus minutes, we start to get these benefits. That clock of 7 to 10 or 14 to 21 or 21 to 14 to 21 for males on the full, or 21 to 28 for the female full acclimation, 4 days a week, but we need to spend at least 20 minutes of exposure at our body temperatures above that 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. So in these passive, like when we expose ourselves to passive heat training, we do not want to drink water. We do not want to drink anything. I've gone over this a couple of times and you might think I'm nuts, but the reason is every time that you consume some of that hydration, it most likely is at a cooler temperature than where your body temperature is at that point. So it's bringing that temperature down. If it goes under 100.4 degrees, we are going to lose that time window and you're going to start it over again. So if you take that sip at 10 minutes, you tip your body temperature down to 100.1, you've kind of started your clock over, so that 20 minutes now again ticks over. So again, early in the stage, 4 days a week of exposure. It can be passive, and then the active piece of that is, as you alluded to, Mitch, when you went out Thursday last week, you probably rode for 2.5 hours. You were exposed. Your body temperature most likely was above that 100.4 degrees.
And the humidity was pretty high too.
And that's also going to have, that factors into what your core internal body temperature is. So just because it might be 78 degrees with 99% humidity, your internal body temperature is going to tick up to that 104 plus. So that's where my work with core body monitor is key, because that is something that you put on your heart rate monitor. It actually is gauging the temperature of your core body. Therefore, you will know, oh, hey, I'm at 101.6. I'm getting those heat acclimation benefits. But the active standpoint is just like we had talked about, you going out and actively riding, or Chris, if you go out and actively run, we just want to make sure that that exposure is beyond that 20-minute time frame. In that case, this is, again, a great point of that core body monitor. When you go above that, you can time how long that you've had your core body temperature up. In those particular cases, if you get up to 101.8 or 102.3, this, when you take in water, you're just hydrating your body. Even if it cools it down by 1 degree, you still are above that 100.4 degrees. So you can drink in that case. It's just more of, we don't know what we don't measure, but if you are measuring this, you know exactly where your body temperature is. You take a swig of cold water. Oh, it only came down to 101.6. And I still am getting that benefit. So as you are getting acclimated 4 days a week, once you are past that time frame, you can back it down to 3 days of exposure. Often I will make the recommendation when we are going through that heat exposure, your outdoor efforts, or so let's say that you are doing active. Your outdoor efforts, we want to make sure are very, very low intensity, more aerobic style workout. We don't want to go out and hit VO2 max or threshold workouts or race pace efforts just yet, because we're going to make that so much harder on ourselves. Plus, we are going to go through elements in our body that could increase the opportunity for injuries. So when we are coming out in very, very hot temperatures, we are starting to perspire quite a bit. We might be losing muscle hydration. In that case, the longer that bout might be, the more susceptible to an injury we become. So recommend in the active state, we move our more intense workouts indoor during that acclimation state.
Okay.
Easier efforts can go outdoors. Now, if you don't necessarily want, if you want to keep your training volume the exact same way in the training intensity distribution, what I would then recommend in some individual to do more of the passive, because this can be done at the end of the day of training and it's not going to affect your actual training load. Due to the stress that you are going to get from the heat acclimation, your overall stress load will go up, but it's not going to come from a stress load in the workout dynamic.
Question.
Sure.
Okay. So through this process, you said like outdoor, kind of a more of a zone 2 ride situation, what have you. Okay. If I'm training indoor
or run.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. For Chris. Yes. Rod. Okay. Yeah. I got to remind myself that there's more to biking and swimming. Okay. If I'm indoors on Zwift, like let's say your workouts for the week are Zwift, and then you have an outside ride tomorrow, and then Saturday, I believe, or Sunday. Anyway, bottom line is it beneficial for me to not turn on my fan while I'm Zwifting? Does that help heat acclimation, or is that just like stupid?
There's going to be points where it's going to be, but again, it's going to be the same recommendation on that one, Mitch. So if I throw a 4-minute threshold repeat effort at you and you don't have a fan on, there's no circulation in the house. At least when you're out on the bike on the road, you're creating some convection cooling. You are creating an 18-mile-an-hour wind or a 20-mile-an-hour wind based on you riding at those speeds. In the indoor setting, you are stationary, and if you don't have a fan on, that air is stagnant. So what is happening is you are starting to like excrete heat, and your body is already hot. So not only are you increasing the temperature in your body, you are increasing the heat around you. So again, if you have a very, very high intense effort,
right,
and you don't have your fan on, or you don't have some form of cooling going down, you are just cooking, literally cooking the insides of your body. And if we put one of these core body monitors on you and I tested what your core temperature was, you would probably find out it's 103 or 104 degrees, which you're just not going to have that same effort. And I will tell you, if you put yourself through that effort, halfway through, you probably are going to want to just do vile things to yourself because
yes.
So,
well, okay, but here's my follow-up. If you throw, let's say, like you threw an endurance ride, like an hour, 15 minutes, whatever, zone 2, 4, 4, 4, okay, 8 times or what have you. Would that help my heat acclimation if I didn't turn on the fan and just rode it at a zone 2 heart? I'm just curious because I was wondering about that. Like I had some inside rides lined up due to weather and everything else. And I was just curious what your thoughts are.
You're still going to cook yourself to at a certain point. So if one, this is not a plug for core body monitor, but this is where I utilize this with my athletes, is if they have it, what I do is I have found by looking at their research, I can start to see, okay, when you get up to 150 beats per minute in this, your body temperature starts to go up and your heart rate starts to shoot from that point. So what I want to do is take you up to that particular point. We're going to train at that point. So what I might have individuals do is not have the fan on, get their body up to that core body monitor number, and then start to turn on the fan at a light load to maintain that heart rate or to maintain that body temperature.
I see.
If we maintain that body temperature, just progressive load, if you're going to get better and more persistent, or not persistent, you're going to be more progressively able to fight through that like sticking point and get comfortable with that body temperature. So when you are not utilizing that particular measurement tool, what I would recommend in that case, Mitch, is have some type of cycle. So I am going to go no fan for 5 minutes. I'm going to come back and get the fan on for 6 minutes, or have some type of protocol where you are going to have the fan off for a certain amount of time, but then turn that stinking fan on, because what you're going to do is, even in a zone 2 ride, we're still going to see the same environment that I talked about a little bit earlier, where you do not have any convection cooling, you don't have airflow movement. So your body is going to continue to heat up. It's a furnace in that particular case. It's going to get hot. And then we've all been there where we maybe put our hand on the outside of our face and we can feel the heat radiating off of our body. You're training in that. So now your body temperature is working within that heat that you're radiating, which again is still going to elevate your body temperature that much more. So that's why it would be important to have like some type of protocol plan of, I'm going to have it on for 4 minutes, have it off for another. I would make sure that the fan is on for long enough to bring your body temperature down to comfortable range, then turn it off. At the back half of that range, then you can get it to be more uncomfortable. But I will also tell you, in that case, you're probably going to be above that 100.4 degrees, even when the fan is on at that point. So you're not going to lose any type of heat acclimation. You're just going to make that ride a hell of a lot more comfortable, a hell of a lot more doable. Because I've had individuals that have not had fans and they're like, this workout's impossible. And I'm like, it's a zone 2, 2.5 hour ride. It should not be impossible. You add a fan and they're like, oh, it was the greatest ride I've ever had. So, I mean,
no, I believe me, that fan, I've learned a hard lesson. I got a good fan because of that. I think that's great. No, I appreciate that, because I do struggle. I don't know, Chris, do you feel you're like pretty acclimated to the heat that we've been having?
I think so.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have a fan. Like, I train for Texas all winter long. It
doesn't matter.
I never had a fan. I don't know.
Your watts will be in a completely more legitimate range. Like, we would not be able to properly target your rates or your watts and heart rate for a race projection in that case, because they're going to be so completely off, because no matter how hot it is in Texas, you're still going to go 16, 17 miles an hour. On the way back in certain points of the toll road, you could be going 30 miles an hour with that wind sometime.
Right.
That all is creating that convection cooling, and your body is going to respond to that cooler temperature. I would say go buy yourself a fan when you get back from Oregon, because otherwise you're wasting your time.
Whoa, Christmas. Put it on the list, Chris. Oh,
and I mean that. I mean that wholeheartedly.
I think it is. Yeah. It's a good investment. And you don't have to get a fancy dancy Wahoo fan. Just a regular good old fan. I know some people like the Wahoo, which is fine. Coach, I don't see any other questions. Do you, Chris? I don't. Let me check the no fan equals indoor pool. That's Mike Hoblet. Hoblet is still blown away by makeup in the transition area. And Chuck said, Chuck, for once I found the only benefit of working in the elements all the time. That guy works hard. I believe Chuck told me he works, he either manages construction crews or does construction, but he's out there in that heat. So he's getting acclimated. So good luck, good deal there, Chuck. And all right, let's see here. I think we just need to wrap up. It is 7:01. Coach, we went over.
I'm gonna go over because I have a couple of things that I would like to say. So
okay.
If we do not have any more questions, I kind of you talked about it at the top of the hour. I feel like last week we got a couple of sad news from. I'll finish with you, but I'll start with Sean. That's Sean in his tenure has really turned this club into a more community feel. I feel like it has become special again to be a member of this club. And I think that is a really big, tip of the cap, as you did to Sean. I really think
absolutely
when he took over, he had a vision. He came in some tough times of the club, and I really do truly feel that he provided a space for like-minded individuals to come together and share the story, like Chris, like you, Mitch, like myself. We've had a home in this, and for some of our members that have only been members for 3 or 4 years, only know the club under that leadership. And I think he deserves a heck of a lot of praise, and I have a lot of respect for Sean and what he's done for this club. And I want to tell you, Sean, you're going to be missed. I truly believe that you've done something special, and the future's bright from the land that you paved. But I think it's going to, we always should look back and think and respect what you've done in the build of this club.
I mean, I think of the sponsors that he's brought on board. I think, the relationships that he's developed within the club and so forth. And, the leadership that he has provided. I mean, I remember when I came on board, I joined CTC and where it was and where it is today. All because I know Sean always said, well, let's keep our focus on the community, like you said, the community and the members. And, if we keep that focus, that's what is going to help us become and look at the results. I mean, year after year. And then, the Queen City Tri is a fitting tribute to what he has done, to receive that award and recognition. So yes, very much will be, his leadership will be missed, but we wish him well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as you said earlier, we will still continue to see him and Cam at these events, and
yeah,
we'll be sure to give him a hard time anyways. Just what we do. But the next thing that I have to say is that Mitch, this is hard. I care so much about you. You've really helped me a great deal over the last really 18 months. You have become an extremely close friend. I care greatly for you. I
am honored to call you my friend.
I'm gonna miss the hell out of you. What we have done as far as the training squad and some of the other things that we've built together, I take great pride. What we've done on this show.
Yeah. It's been fun.
I think it's great. I mean, it's your passion, your excitement, your positivity is, you know what? It's infectious, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. And anytime that I get the opportunity to share a moment with you, it means so much to me. And I wish you the best. I know it's not going to end. We're going to continue to go out there and kick some hills and everything else that we do. But you mean a hell of a lot to me, and look, man, it's been a hell of a run.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of when we started. I remember Michelle Chevalier did the first Coach's Corner with you, and then she said she couldn't do it going forward. And I said, well, I can step in. And I think we've built a really good, and I consider you a dear friend as well. And, we did some good stuff. We created some good clinics. I think a lot of our members benefited from the clinics, the swim clinics with Ann and Ashley, the bike clinics with Nathan and Sarah. I think of the panel, the race prep week panel that you created, the collaboration with Mojo, Perry Hawk and his team and so forth. And we meet a lot of really cool people on the way. We had our sponsors on our show, which is Frank and Stacy and Mike Danko. It's just been a really wonderful ride. And I'm grateful for the time, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to work with you. And Chris, you're going to do an awesome job. I know you are. You are just, Aaron came and he said, what do you think of Chris? I said, absolutely. This is great, Aaron. You've done a lot of great things for this club, and I appreciate it. And you've done a lot of great things for me, and I appreciate it all the time. You've always been able to be that guy I could pick up the phone and talk to and say, I'm down here. I'm not doing very well with these VO2 max workouts. And you always made me feel better. Like, you could do this if you do this. And I've always said, okay, I got to just get there. So anyway,
I couldn't have done half of it without you. So it really, we joked last week, it's peanut butter and then Pop-Tarts. Who would have ever thought they would have come together?
Pop-Tarts. I know. Flip turns, Pop-Tarts, Strava. Nah, we can't talk. Now, Chris, you remember, we can't talk about this. No,
Aaron
we're just kidding.
We're on the same page when it comes to that.
So, I know. But anyway, CTC, thank you all members for what you've given me. Hopefully I was able to return something and help you, but you've all helped me immensely, and I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss a lot, but I'm going to still be out there. So
we'll find you. If not,
we'll get some hills in. I know Chris is going to, when she gets back, we're going to do some more hills, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
You and Cindy, and oh man, that's that Thursday ride. Yeah, that's a great ride.
It is a good ride.
All right. Well, folks, signing off. It's been an honor. Chris, do an awesome job. Take over. And Aaron, continue to be who you are. Just the greatest coach. And we appreciate it all. And have a good night, folks. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.